Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 464 of the DrunkNerds podcast. Where, as always, I'm Tyler. Joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. Introduce yourself for the second time. What's up, buddy?
Dude, I am doing freaking fantastic. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of busy stuff. Black Friday was busy as hell, but it was worth it. And especially picking up some Black Friday goodies, gaming sales that were going on and stuff. I really wasn't going to be going into like a lot of like details in regards to what I wanted to try to find, but at the same point, I end up finding two games of the PS5 dirt cheap. Got Deathloop for 25 bucks, got Resident Evil Village for $20 through the Walmart sales and stuff. Happened upon it by luck. Went into the store this morning. They were still going through their offers in regards to their deals and stuff from yesterday. At this time of recording, it's the day after Black Friday, obviously. But fairly happy because I ended up going in and accomplishing what I wanted to do, which was, hey, maybe I could find some PS5 games that are dirt cheap and stuff that are good, or have some sort of like positive stuff to it. And I ended up doing that, and now my PS5 collection is starting to fill itself up quite nice. I got at least now 6 games in physical form, so that's good. That's awesome.
Nice.
I got stuff to play like I generally do. Trust me, even when I think I don't have anything to play, I still have something to play. It's just one of those weird ass things and stuff, but I'm happy that went out without a hitch. On top of that, there were some other types of sales that went on during this past week. Obviously, for those that are watching in, it's like, this is one. Big 49ers fan. Go inside Ross. And bear in mind, this is like in Washington State, mind you. And so it's like, you do not see rival teams for sale inside of a specific state. Like, for example, it's like, you're not going to go to, say, Philadelphia or something like that and randomly see Dallas Cowboys gear or something like that inside of their local affiliates or something like that. That generally doesn't happen. But as luck would have it, I go inside my local Ross and I find not one, but 2.
Nice. Oh,
3,
there's more. Oh, my God.
And 4. San Francisco
that
49ers beanies.
Is that got gloves with it, too?
Yes, dude. Look at this. I got gloves, matching gloves with the fucking hats.
Oh, there you go.
This one's camo.
Cute.
This is more or less sort of like a festive sort of type of stuff. But what's hilarious about it is like, these are like Shop NFL freaking merchandise, right? And so it's like I hit it just right to where, look at a lot of their hats, look at their whole bunch of this stuff, and I was saying to myself, I would love to have a 49ers beanie. And so it's like, I would have spent over $200 for these hats alone on Shop NFL, and I ended up saving about 86 bucks. So I think I spent like about 65 roughly on the hats themselves.
That's a good fucking deal, yeah.
Dude.
You can't get a t-shirt there for that.
They had a little bit of everything, dude. They had Packers, they had fucking Tampa Bay, they had all this other stuff. What's kind of hilarious, they had Seahawks gear, but they didn't have hats like this in the local affiliates. You know, it's like a Seattle-based thing, and here you have 49ers. It's like, that's supposed to be a freaking rivalry.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, that's a bunch of positive stuff happening this past week and stuff. But how have you been doing, Tyler?
Oh, I'm doing all right, it's been pretty busy for me as well. I told Gables that I had introduced himself for a second time because he was mid-introduction the first time, and I realized that I was recording his audio twice and mine 0. So we had to stop that. Luckily, it was only 2 minutes in, and I caught that. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Otherwise, with a little melancholy. With Thursday, it was awesome. Eat a bunch of delicious food, had a bunch of ham, but it's like my last holiday / vacation day until Memorial Day. So it's like 8 months away, so that's depressing. But other than that, it's pretty good. With Christmas and New Year's being on Saturday, we don't get any time off for that, so that sucks. But could be worse. But people out there a lot worse than me. But yeah, it was all right though. Like you, I didn't go too crazy on. I haven't really gone crazy on Black Friday deals anymore. And if I do, it's usually like things I need, anymore. As we getting older, we're in our
Yep.
30s now. It's like I was looking at some sweet pot and pan sets, because I need those. I was looking at shit like that, but I did dabble a little bit. I bought a 9 months worth of Xbox Game Pass.
There you go.
Um, People don't know. I don't know. Maybe you haven't heard it. If you haven't, if you listen to us regularly or not, maybe you don't know about the best deal in gaming, Xbox Game Pass. Um, but yeah, there was normally it's $15 a month, so $45 for 3 months. They had it for $25, but they limited you to three. So I bought three of those. I was gonna buy a year, but then I guess I probably could have just signed back in and bought another 9 months. It's fine. I'm not gonna do that. But so I bought that, so I'm good with that now. I think until what's that, October now of next year. So basically, I'm gonna have to pay a month and then come right back to Black Friday and then fucking buy another 9 months worth or a year's worth, because I did this a couple years ago too, where they had it for like I think it was like 20 or 25, and I just bought 15 months worth of fucking Game Pass.
Wow.
This is pre Xbox Series, the Series consoles launched.
Oh
So
yeah. Okay.
yeah, then when I got my Series S, I got it came with 3 months, and then I got a gift. It came with a gift card and 3 months worth of Game Pass. So then I used that gift card to buy another 3 months. So
So you could
it's kind of
essentially
worked
bought
out
like a year's worth of Game Pass, right?
pretty much. Yeah, and yeah, I didn't. Yeah, pretty much. I haven't really paid monthly. I paid like 2 months worth of Game Pass, I think, and then I'm good for a while. I was telling my mom about it. She's like, "You just paid $80 for for that." I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm like, I'm paying $80 now, but now I don't have to worry about it every month after that until next year. It's, I get it. It's a big it's a big chunk of change right now. Especially when the holidays come up, you gotta spend money on other people. But another thing I did buy, I did jump on. Um, I was going back and forth on it and stuff like that about getting it, because it's like, oh, man, Halo's coming out in like a week and a half. I don't know if I want to buy another game. I got Pokemon Pearl sitting here. I said fuck it, I'm just gonna get it, and I ended up picking up. It kind of worked out because I had like $17 on my PlayStation Store account, and they had Deathloop on there for 30.
Mm.
So I picked it up on there for so I just had to chip in the other 13 $14. So I got that. Been playing a lot of that. But yeah, that's pretty much going on me. Just been enjoying it. My week's all thrown off because I don't know what working 3 days, get a day off, work a day, and now I'm back. I got yesterday was all day yesterday was a Monday to me. And then I'm like, oh shit, no, today's Friday. I gotta get all my running done tonight before I go pick up my dog after work. So yeah, it's doing all right though. It's could be worse. It's that time of year though. It's getting holiday season. Now I look forward to that. It's gonna be very busy for work for the next 6 weeks or so, and then we got winter as well. So, but that is not why we're here, Gables. We are here because this is a video game podcast where
Yep.
we talk about video games. Let's jump on into that. Um, I thought, Gable, Thanksgiving's over. It's been a very light week. Not a lot of news is happening. Just more Bobby Kotick being a piece of shit.
Yeah, true.
And we've done a lot of that. And there's nothing we can't say that hasn't already been said by us and by
True.
many others. So I thought, Gables, we can make this, a little more of a positive podcast this week, where I want to know, Gables, what are you thankful for in gaming in 2021?
Hmm. All right. So what I'm thankful for gaming this year currently. There are a couple different things I could think of. Is like one, the vast amount of choice in regards to gaming currently, as opposed to when obviously I first started going into video games. I mean,
Right.
for the listeners listening in, if you are under the age of, say, if you're not in your 30s or something, if you're like, say, 15, 16, you just
Oh
happen upon
God,
our
go
podcast or
away.
something like that, uh, don't. Here's the thing, Tyler. It's like you you say that now and stuff, but it's like the way the landscape is for like podcasting and stuff like that, and also in terms of gaming and stuff. I wouldn't surprise me if we have like teenage listeners and stuff to us who just want to listen to some perspective of like of us, But it's like back then and stuff when I first started playing video games and stuff, there wasn't a lot of choice. I mean, you basically had You didn't have anything digital. You didn't have anything like in regards to like subscription services. You had to make do with your game system of choice, which was either at this point in time for me it was like either the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis.
Mm.
There was no other types of consoles that were really available in my area, so no Turbo Graphics, no Neo Geo, even though there was like maybe one time I saw it at a Walmart, but that was fucking insane to try to find because that was so fucking expensive. We're talking about close to about $1,000
Yeah,
just for
yeah,
that
and
and $300 per cartridge.
that's like mid 1990s money too.
Yeah, it was mid 1990s money. Actually, I didn't even see a Neo Geo until like about the early 2000s
I was
because
already a man when I saw Neo Geo.
oh my god, dude. But yeah, the vast amount of choice back around say the 90s in that regards, you basically had a couple consoles. You did have PC in some form, but not as flexible and definitely is not as intuitive as it would have been say now, where you can go forth and have straight up console quality games or even PC quality games and stuff be almost near identical. It's like when you were gaming on the PC, it was vastly different than gaming on the console because of how the graphics were or how the game ran. Point and click adventures were still going rampant. I mean, RPGs at that point were like more text based or more, God, they were more structured after specific types of like categories and stuff, more turn based and stuff like that. But the type of variety now, it's pretty startling. If you are inside of gaming right now, you have so much option in regards to what games you want to play, when you want to play them, at what quantity or what type of amount. I mean, hell, you can get Game Pass and stuff like that. You have instant a couple hundred games for you to choose from. You can go on to Steam, maybe go on to do some various sales or something like that on that storefront, or Nintendo or Microsoft or PlayStation storefronts and buy a bunch of games for dirt cheap. It is so easy to get inside of gaming right now and have so much choice of what game you want to play. Literally, literally and stuff, if you've been gaming for more than 10 years and stuff, you're at that point to where you have so much games or so much content and stuff that you can divulge into that you're probably never going to get around to a lot of it. Let's be perfectly
Yeah.
honest. Not to bring things down a bit, but at the same point, here's some realistic. One thing that's more or less I'm appreciative for is the type of variety because it could have been the exact opposite, especially during the gaming crash of the 1980s. But another thing I am grateful for gaming nowadays and stuff is more or less accessibility in terms of how you get to play your games. Granted, you're not just stuck on your TV playing in front of your and sitting in your chair playing games on your big on a big old CRT television or a little 13-inch TV, which was me with the N64 and the GameCube.
That weighed 85 pounds.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This was like a Sanyo, dude. This is like a freaking miniature 13-inch Sanyo TV that was like it was at the tail end of the whole CRT stuff. So
Oh
this
yeah.
was literally like a 20-year-old TV at this standard at this point in time. But I had that thing for years before it went out. And that's how I would game. I would huddle close to my TV. I'd play games like Majora's Mask, like fucking like Super Smash Brothers. I even cooked up my old NES I had back in the day and just started playing some of the shit on that small screen. That was gaming back then. To where now I have like a 40 something inch TV. I could play games in 4K. I can watch and do all this various stuff. Hell, playing through the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond or something like that, and have a system to where I can literally play it on my TV or on the go, and it's like seamless, and it's like incredibly crazy that I don't have to use batteries or I don't have to, you know, just all that whole different stuff. It's just the amount of accessibility I surely do love with gaming as well. But that's two things though. Tyler, what are you most thankful in regards to the
I'm
whole
just
gaming?
I'm just thankful that we're still getting games right now. When a year and a half ago we didn't know that'd be possible for right now, to get the games and the quality of games we've gotten the last. I mean, we've talked about it. Like 2021, not the greatest year in gaming, but a very 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 good year where the we don't have those banger 10 out of 10 games, but we've had a bunch of like 8s and 9s this year. It's been a
Right.
great year for those games, and a lot of really high quality games coming out. Despite all the issues going on with everything in the world, um, just with chip shortages, COVID, everything going on, just having brand new games coming out every week, constantly have new games to play all the time. Um, I don't know how the fuck they do it. Um, thank you. I'm thankful for the developers for all this, especially. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot to be thankful for this year when you think of that when it's just year and a half. Like March, we are like, man, like we might not have a game come out the rest of the year. Obviously there was way more important things going on then, but like just the gaming sculpture, like how the fuck is this gonna work?
Yeah, really.
Just the quality of games coming out. You know, it's not just games are coming out, but the quality of games coming out this year have been very good. Um, just it's just been an awesome year, and be able to like I'm thankful that I've been lucky enough to get a PS5 and get an Xbox Series S this year when I know fucking there's a lot of people out there have been trying very hard to get one. I got lucky. I was able to, just incredibly lucky to get one. Gables, same thing. Really,
Yep.
if anybody gets one, you're just incredibly lucky. But um, yeah, just very thankful and just thankful for having these games to play during what's been a very crappy uh, year and a half,
Right.
and with COVID, politically, everything going on in the world, just you be able to play some games and not think about bullshit for a while.
Exactly.
Uh, just sit on my couch, cuddle with my dog, playing some fucking video games. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that. It's like we never really talk about the things we're thankful for, and I just thought it'd be kind of become a fun thing. Just golf claps to all the developers out there. Thank you. I don't want to clap too loud because I'll wake my dog up and I have neighbors. Um, I live in a very small apartment, so but yeah, that's what I'm thankful for. Um, and some banging ass soundtracks this year.
Oh
Banging
damn,
ass
yeah.
soundtracks. A lot of those too. But yeah, I just thought start off with some fun here and talking about like some of the positives going on in video games this year. And it's been it's very easy to like, and I know I've done it, and I know a lot of people have done it, where it's easy to point out and pick holes in this year. But man, like what this year could have been and what it's been incredible. It's been nothing short of a miracle for gamers out there. But Gables, this is something I wanted to do a couple weeks ago, and just shit's going on. Like we've run long, or we've had a bunch of shit going on. I want to talk about it. We discussed it briefly with when they did their stream. Xbox had their stream, but a couple weeks ago was the 20th anniversary of the Xbox console, Xbox in itself. I
Yeah.
thought it'd be kind of fun. When like earlier this year we had the 25th anniversary of the 64. We typically do like we look back at like when we get to that 20th anniversary, we look back at these consoles, and I thought it'd be fun not just look back at the original Xbox, but just Xbox in general.
Right.
And like it was funny, we were like I had it in the show notes beforehand, but then it was like we were sitting there like talking a lot about like before the podcast about like playing Gears and Halo and
Yep.
even the Darkness. For people that might maybe remember that game that came out a long time ago, I was telling Gables how I played a ton of it when it first came out, and then Bioshock came out, and I totally put off, totally stopped playing it. And then like years later, I picked it back up for a couple bucks, and I found out I had like 15 minutes left to play the game until I beat it. Um, but I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of fun, like running through our history and like the things we loved about Xbox. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first in this one?
Honestly, for this time, I think I'll go first, only because
Okay.
I think I may have maybe a little bit less to talk about in terms of Xbox, since I know I didn't really play a lot of Xbox stuff until I had a 360. So initially, my start is I got a Xbox 360 in 2008. I want to say, yeah, it was 2008, and I basically got it for like the Xbox Live stuff. So I had Halo 2, and I had like Gears of War a bit later and stuff. But my first initial experience with the Xbox 360 is I think I had like both Halo and Halo 2. I managed to get both of those games and stuff, and I played a lot of the multiplayer in regards to Halo 2 multiplayer and stuff. Even back then, even though at that point it was like a couple of years. removed from its initial launch, and it was in preparation for like Halo 3. And man, it's like, yeah, playing a whole bunch of like that the online stuff for that, and it wasn't until years later, I think last year, that I actually managed to finish the campaign for Halo 2, and it was surprisingly good. Surprisingly good for what I thought initially it was, because I
Yeah.
basically just played half of it and just left it. But my initial thing with the 360 was to try to get a lot of the backwards compatible stuff to play the original Xbox games, because I never did back then. So I had a chance to play a little bit of, obviously, the original Halo, Ninja Gaiden Black, a little bit of that, and I still have Knights of the Old Republic, which I have on my bookshelf
Nice.
right now for the original Xbox. But it was mostly to try to play some of the classic games that released there from like BioWare, from Lionhead Studios and stuff, and whatsoever. But some of the best memories I believe I have for the 360. Let's see. Obviously, being inside party chat, playing Halo 3 and stuff with some of my friends, like playing some oddball, playing this and that, getting super angry in terms of trying to play Halo 3 online, trying to play not Gears, I mean, Call of Duty, Black Ops. I remember playing a lot of that, plus having some bit of like the multiplayer stuff. Have some gamer night stuff for on Black Ops as well. But oh god, yeah, the time I got really invested in Super Street Fighter 4. Oh Jesus Christ. There was a time period where I got super into playing Super Street Fighter 4. I spent over 100 hours on this game on the 360 because one, I love Street Fighter. That's a franchise I will still play off and on. But yeah, it was just a random shit, where I went through. I wanted to play as this one as one of the characters. I think it was Hakan. His name was. It's like he was like a Turkish oil wrestler. So basically, he covers himself in oil and stuff like that, and he can be super quick, and his attacks can launch super quick if you go into specifics and stuff. And so I I would randomly go into certain online matches playing as Hakan, which not a lot of people like playing as Hakan because he was either kind of a little bit slow or people just didn't really know how to play as Hakan and stuff. But it was hilarious getting him into getting opponents into like a special move to where basically he grabs the opponent right, and all of a sudden it's like he literally like goes forth, and you see the opponent like sliding around his body or something like that up until like he just launches them from his shoulder or something like that into the wall. So it was just one of those times that I played so much of Super Street Fighter 4. Obviously, Halo 3 was a big thing. Gosh, and even Gears of War Ultimate, when that thing initially relaunched and stuff, I played a lot of Gears of War Ultimate. Then there are times and stuff that I did like have a little bit of a lull period and stuff with Xbox in general, only because the Xbox One generation there really wasn't a lot to keep me really invested in, say, like the PS4 generation, for obvious reasons, honestly, because the first party content was not really there in regards to it. Maybe a couple of different things,
Yeah.
but I will say it's like another game that I remember having a good positive times with is Tekken 6, another fighting game. So it's like one of those things where I didn't go in thinking that I'd complete that game, and then I completed that game in like about a couple of weeks because
Damn.
I went online, played the matches, did the whole recommended stuff, going through the campaign, not the freaking for the single player aspect of it, play a little bit with every character of it, and it's like there was one particular part I remember absolutely hating, and that was facing off against Double Gene on this moving train. And so you have this 3D fighter, right? And you have the stage where you're on a moving train. And so quintessentially, my key thing I was supposed to do is pretty much defeat him while on this train. And so since he is complete bullshit, I found out that there was a way that you could knock him off the damn train, and so he would go sliding on the railing and off to do a ring out. And so that's part of what I was trying to do. And I figured it out. I grabbed him to a specific portion, I launched him off the train. He went flying into the thing, and it was so satisfying. Of course, I had the random moments online and stuff where people poke fun at my characters, like cosmetic designs, because it would the way my character was dressed, it looked like a McDonald's worker, so they call him McDonald's Lars. Oh yeah, just fun shit like that. But a positive moment I would say is like when I had a chance to be inside the party chat and stuff with a couple of friends, a couple of people that I know. You know Tyler as well. I mean, like from the Sarcastic Gamer days, like 8-Bit Bass, Keaton, and also Knuckles Dawson stuff before his initial like passing and stuff. That was a fun. That was a fun party chat because here I had these three guys that very experienced in regards to like gaming stuff in general, but have actually done some like podcasting pedigree stuff as well. You know, we just chilled a bit and stuff, played some games here and there and stuff, and it was just funny hearing their back and forths and stuff. And yeah, it was a pretty memorable moment and stuff. But my whole entirety with like the Xbox and the whole anniversary of it now, like 20 years later after its first release, I went from completely hating Xbox stuff when I was a kid because it's like, okay, you have PlayStation, you have Nintendo and stuff. I don't like this Microsoft Xbox stuff
Yeah.
because at that point I had seen so many either would be companies try to come out with their own consoles and stuff and fail completely, or you just have like this one particular like other sort of like companies try their tossing their hat into it and just completely fail. Like hell, this comes off from a generation where I saw a bunch of failures, like say from Atari's Jaguar and stuff to the Sega Saturn to like the Sega Dreamcast is what hurt the most because I had legitimate interest in the Sega Dreamcast back then, and funny enough, this is what decided me to go the PlayStation route up until the 360 when I played some bit of the 360. It was the choice between either getting a PS1 or a Sega Dreamcast. It's like my dad literally told me it's like I was in this Walmart. It's like he told me I could pick one, and I looked at it. It's like okay, I do want to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast, but then again, there's SmackDown 2, Know Your Role, and stuff on the PlayStation 1. I'm like,
That's the cider right there.
oh, yeah, that definitely was the decider. 20 years ago, I look back and I was like, yeah, you know what? Even though I love Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I definitely love that game. I love playing it from time to time online, the PS3. At that point, I thought it was the better choice to use SmackDown 2 Know Your Role because that was a good game as well. That was
They had
absolutely
ladder
great.
matches and Hell in a Cell matches. I mean, how could you beat that?
But yeah, looking at how the Dreamcast did then, and all of a sudden it's like crashing because of ending the because EA ended the support pretty much for Sega and all the mismanagement Sega has done led to them pretty much getting out of the console race altogether, becoming third-party developers. But that is initially what rose up with Xbox because I felt like Xbox was put essentially at that point in time like piggybacking off of like of Sega's remains and stuff like that.
They got Sonic 06.
They did have Sonic 06, but they did have a whole bunch of other games that later were Dreamcast games but came on to that system. Like you had the Jet Set Radio and then like Jet Grand Radio, I think it was actually, and then it's like the Sega GT games and this and that. So I go from hating the system to actually feeling completely okay with it. You know, it's like sure it's not my number one system of choice, you know, or maybe not immediate, but I love the fact that today like 20 years later, it's still around. There's a bunch of awesome things that Microsoft has done and stuff to improve not only the accessibility of how people can play their systems, like either on phones, on their TVs, have a whole bunch of different controller options and stuff, but yet the quality of games you can actually get through Game Pass right now, you can download them. You don't really have to worry about too much. I mean, yeah, $15 a month, but at the same time, you're spending like 50 plus on a specific game a month if you really want to be in the know in regards like both of us generally do regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my initial thing. But Tyler, the floor is to you.
All right. Mine's very weird as well. Where like, so I remember like my dad and I we went up to like a game store and we traded. It wasn't GameStop. It was a different store. Um, and we traded in like like all of like we had a PS1 and like a ton of games for it.
Wow.
And we traded it in and we think we got like $100 for it. And I think the PS2 had been out for like a year or so at this point. It's probably like probably like 2000, late 2002, 2003 ish, right around there. Um, and we bought that, and we put that towards it. Well, he put that towards it, I should say, and because I was like 13, 14, maybe, and probably actually younger than that, probably 12, 13, and we bought a PS2. I remember we went right across the street was a Hollywood Video. We rented I rented Metal Gear Solid 2,
Oh, there you
and like we rented a bunch of games. Remember we rented like Crazy Taxi and Metal Gear Solid 2
go.
and a few other games. And I remember we got hooked up, and my dad was like yelling mad, like an inch from the screen. Like this is like a 26-inch, which is a big ass TV back then.
That
Like,
was.
look how shitty these graphics are while he's playing Crazy Taxi. Like these graphics are terrible. So we had a PS2, but not for very long. So I didn't even, like we didn't have a. I remember we didn't get a memory card or anything like that because they were $20 back then. Um, which obviously now that it's $20 then is a lot is a lot
That's
now.
cheap.
Well, it was
Well, back
yeah,
then,
cheap
yes,
now.
yes.
Yeah, but back then that's like 40.
An 8
Um,
megabyte memory card or something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
that was expensive
it's
then.
wild to think that. Yeah. So I remember we traded. So we had that. We didn't have it very long. Maybe not even a year.
Wow.
I remember like, but I was same thing. I was playing like the new SmackDown shit like that. He traded in and got an Xbox, and then we didn't have any fucking games to play for it really. Because like my dad wasn't really into shooters back. My dad and his best friend were like big into gaming, so I always remember like watching them play games, but I never really play games. My dad and his friend, they went up day one and bought a PlayStation 1
Okay.
and got was it Tekken or Virtua Fighter? That was day one game.
Oh, I think it was a Tekken game. I think.
I think you're right. I think it was Tekken.
Yeah.
I remember playing that, and then like remember watching him play D back in the day.
Oh,
That was fucking
oh
terrifying.
that's terrible.
Uh, yeah, I remember just sitting there. And I'm like behind them, like late at night playing this game, and like ready to rumble boxing, shit like
Oh,
that. But anyways,
God, that's
going
a
back
nostalgia
to
trip.
yeah. So going back to that, like my dad was never really a shooter guy, which is funny because now he
No, he's the shooter
plays.
guy.
Yeah, now all he plays is fucking Warzone. My dad plays more video games now than I do, which is wild to think. Because for a very long time he was like big in the. We always had gaming consoles in the house, but
Mm.
I was never really big on it. But like one of the first games I really got into on there was Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh
I remember my
yeah.
dad, my dad even bought me a month's worth of Xbox Live
Oh,
so
wow.
I can play it. And I remember playing the crap, and we had a headset. I remember talking to a couple people on there, and they were actually like nice to me. It was like
Oh.
and like we're having a good time. I played a ton of that game online. I had a blast with that. That game was awesome. Remember we had that. We had that for pretty much probably until the next console came out. But I remember like I got like my parents bought me Halo, and it was like dirt cheap at a Blockbuster. Um, Years later, but I'm like the same with you, where like I was like that shitty fanboy kid back in the day. Like it's never makes sense to me. I was a hardcore Nintendo fanboy back in the day, but I wasn't a big Mario or Zelda fan or Metroid fan or Animal Crossing fan.
Right.
But I was a huge Nintendo fan, but I had no idea why. Because when I think about it now, it's like I just really like Pokemon. That was it. Like that was what I played on
Oh,
there.
dude,
Uh,
that was kind of like with me too. But it's like with me, it was more or less I was predominantly loved Nintendo stuff. I did play a little bit of Sega stuff, but it's like I mostly would play Mario and certain like other like license-based games back then on the Super
yeah,
Nintendo. But it's like
yeah,
up until that point, I was like, okay, I love Nintendo stuff. I was playing a bunch of like things like on PS2 and stuff, even during high school. And then it's like I didn't get exposed to like the Xbox ecosystem and stuff until like late 2000s.
yeah. Well, yeah. Like for me, it was just like I was a huge JRPG fan, so like they had Tales of Symphonia and
Yep.
Skies of Arcadia Legends on there. Like that was like what I was going there for, was like those like really awesome JRPGs that were like they were like Rogue Galaxy came to PS2, but it was like I leaned them mostly Nintendo, but PlayStation was they had Kingdom Hearts and like I said Rogue Galaxy and shit like that. But like I just wasn't a big like wasn't a big fan of Xbox. I remember playing Halo,
Mm.
but it was like one of those things where I went into Halo like with like that negative mindset where I'm playing this game because everybody, all my friends loved and rated, would not shut the fuck up about Halo, and I played this game out of spite just so I could say I played it and tell them I hated it. And I mean, I really didn't really like it that much, but I just blew it up. That I thought was terrible, but I didn't really think that. I just didn't. I didn't care for it. But I wasn't really a big shooter guy back then. But like I said, I was like, I'm talking like I was like middle school, like maybe freshman, during these, not even freshman, like middle school
Oh,
when this
okay.
came out and shit. So, um, anyway, so like, but I remember like we had that. I didn't, like I said, I didn't play it too much, but like a Star Wars Battlefront, shit like that. But I remember like, uh, I got a 360 in the beginning of 2000. So it launched in 2000, late 2005. I
Mm-hmm.
got it. I picked it up with NCAA Football '07.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember,
Okay.
and that had Reggie Bush in the cover. I
Oh,
picked that up, and
yeah.
like Dead Rising was coming out around that time. I remember picking it up like that, picking it up around that time, and there just wasn't a lot to play on it. And I
No.
mean, that's not a shot at them. That's just facts. Um, and I remember like playing it and like just I didn't know, like I immediately burned the ring into my NCAA football like the third day I had it, and I didn't know that was a thing. And then I bought a used one, a used 360. It red ringed on me, and
Ooh.
then it burned fucking. So I had three red rings, and like so I swapped it, got another used one. It red ringed, swapped it, got another one. It red ringed on me. I had three red rings on me within like 2 months. That sounds really gross when I say that. But sorry, I had to say it because anyways. But I remember like so this was like I bought it in like probably late June, July, um, and like the Wii was coming out at this point. And I'm like, I
Right.
keep getting these fucking the red rings, and it's like I'm getting frustrated. It's like there's nothing to play on it, so I traded it in, and I traded in. I remember trading it into a GameStop, and it was a red ring one, but it worked for like an hour, and then it would fuck up on you. And they played it for like 20 minutes straight. I was like 16 when I did this, and I traded in because I was working at a game store at this point in time, and they knew my game store I bought it from, and they told me they wouldn't swap with me anymore because like they're claiming I was breaking them. I'm like, why would I keep swapping them out for another one if I was breaking them? I'd get my money back. Anyways, so traded all the games that I had for it. Uh, and they had like a cleaning machine at my game store I worked at. So
Mm-hmm.
like they would clean like the disc and stuff like that. So I cleaned it enough to the ring was gone, but they still didn't really work all that much. So I traded all my shit in the GameStop. Sorry, GameStop. And I put all that the console. I bought it from Best Buy, the console from Best Buy. I waited overnight in line for Wii and bought Zelda, WarioWare Touched, Red Steel, Excite Truck, a bunch of shitty Wii launch games, Call of Duty 3 on there. And then in like about a year later, it was or a little less than because it was the week that Forza Horizon 2 came out. So it was like maybe spring summer of 2007. I bought a 360 because a guy I was working with, like he bought a 360 right before that, and he was like, "Dude, there's so many games to play now. It's so much better." And I was just like, I was hardcore. I'm like, "No, the Wii's the best console ever. Fucking Twilight Princess rules." I was so stupid. I was so naive. I was still 17, 18, just turned 18 when this happened. I was still in high school.
Oh.
So, I was still a hardcore Nintendo guy. Then I got the 360, and things changed from there. I remember playing that first night. I bought the $100 Wi-Fi router that you had to buy
Right.
for the 360.
Oh God.
I bought
God, that.
Forza Horizon 2. Yeah, right. And then I bought Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, and had a fucking blast playing online. We were playing a ton of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, my friends. Playing Forza Horizon. The first time I never played the game until like the first time I was online. I didn't understand it was like an actual like simulator game and simulating driving game. And I went to go around the curve, and I didn't slow down like you're supposed to in Forza, and I fucking wrecked everybody. And everybody in the party chat immediately yelled at me. And this is my first interaction. Like this is a full party of like my buddy's friends that invited me in there, and I have the whole group
uh,
pissed at me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I remember like playing, and then we played Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I remember like we were talking before the show, playing the Darkness, BioShock, Mass Effect, fucking life changing experiences on the
oh.
360. Where like this show wouldn't be a thing if I wouldn't have got that 360, because then I wouldn't have listened to Sarcastic Gamer. I wouldn't have met Knuckles. I wouldn't have met fucking Gabe. None of
Mm-hmm.
this would be going on right now.
Yep.
360 was a life changing thing for me, for a lot of people, like
Yeah.
playing Black Ops with my friends, and that was the best time of online gaming for me. Was with my friends. We were all like for like a year and a half just playing Black Ops with
Yeah.
and like it wasn't just like the hardcore Black Ops or the hardcore Call of Duty friends. It was like all my friends, like Justin, who doesn't even like Call of Duty games that much, and like we had even like my buddy Will. We had fucking random people just like people like jumping in playing with us all the time. I put like 2+ weeks into Black Ops Online. I had a blast with that game, um, and like that was like peak like experience for like every Friday Saturday night we would have a full fucking party of people. On a bad night, on a bad weekend, it would be like six of us playing that game online. And like remember like or even like doing like Halo 3 with my friends in that game. I remember going to a midnight sale and buying Halo 3 and actually I worked the midnight sale and I bought my copy when I left. Or like playing Modern Warfare before it came out. Uh, my when we worked at our game store, um, the games that come in like the games that come out Tuesday, um, but like the games that come in on like Wednesday Thursday before. So a lot of us would do, we wouldn't steal, we would take them home, and then when they launch, we'd pay for them. So I remember one guy was telling me he beat Halo 3 multiple times before it launched, but he unplugged his hard drive. That way you wouldn't get
Oh,
caught. Because if you were caught playing it before launch, your account would they'd brick your Xbox. They'd ban your account. I don't know if they'd actually brick your Xbox, but I remember like that's a big thing. Your account would get banned if you weren't like you didn't have like a review console. But I remember like playing Modern Warfare before it launched. I remember like I said, talking to the coworker about Halo 3. He was a huge Halo guy and stuff playing that. I beat it back. That was my first. I remember my second Halo game I beat, but I remember playing that with my friends. But like we were playing on Legendary, and I'm a terrible gamer, so they basically just like I would die, and then they would revive me and then carry me through, and then I'd just die 50 times a level. Um, but yeah, it's just I mean across the board, it's just it was the best, maybe the best console of my lifetime. I would say just from like the hours of experience, the fun I had with friends. It was just perfect time in my life for with Xbox Live being a thing, Xbox Live Arcade games like Limbo, Braid. That was like life changing for me. Like playing these
yes.
small games like that on there. Like Summer of Arcade was always exciting. There was like that 5 week stretch where every week you're getting a fucking awesome indie game. Super Meat Boy, fucking like I said, Braid, Limbo, fucking. I'm blanking on some. There was Hydro Thunder came back on these fucking things.
Yes, that's
It
true.
was incredible. Like you're just getting Monday. Was it Monday Night Combat or something like that? It
Yeah,
was
there
like
was Monday Night
kind of a
Combat. That was one of those games
yeah,
and stuff that popped up right
yeah.
there. That
Man,
whole
just
summer of 20, like, yeah, this whole summer, I think it was like, what, 2008, 2009 or something, when that
yeah.
arcade stuff, that's when the indie boom on consoles started officially with
Yeah, Castle Crashers.
Castle
That was like
Crashers.
the
There you
first
go.
one. That game was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean just an incredible console, man. Like they killed it on first party like Gears. Like we were talking about for this podcast. Like I liked Gears 1 and 2, but I love Gears 3 was like I love this franchise. That was like the game that was changing for me on that. But it's yeah, man, just an incredible console. Um, and just like I said, moving on to like Xbox One. I'm going along, sorry. But like Xbox One, like when I picked it up like they had like I picked up my tax return. They had like a bundle where you got like Rise of Tomb Raider and something else. I think it was might have been Gears of War. I think it was Gears of War Ultimate Edition and Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I want to play Rise of the Tomb Raider because they had the 1 year exclusivity deal.
Right, right.
Playing that on there, loving that game. Fucking Quantum Break, a highly underrated game from first party game from last generation. Um, what was the people that made Limbo? What was that game? Oh, Inside.
Yes,
Inside was on
Inside.
there.
Yes.
Was fantastic. And then obviously we have Game Pass, the best deal in gaming, coming alive on there and just playing games. Even the last couple of years on there, like After Party and shit like that. Like really cool, fun indie games on there that I wouldn't have played otherwise.
Oh
That
shit,
came with that
yeah.
thing. So yeah, now we got the Xbox Series S, and like we were raving about that thing. I probably played. If you don't count Madden for game time this year, I probably played my Xbox more than my PlayStation this year. Know what? Scratch that. I have easily played my Xbox more than my PlayStation 5, if you don't count Madden. So, I
And
mean,
that's
it's
something
been
to
an
say.
incredible year for gaming.
Exactly. Exactly. That's definitely like proves a point and stuff like that where with as long as like the Xbox has been around in terms of a brand, in terms of like their consoles and stuff like that. I mean, you can honestly say like you have played so much to an extent where you've literally like grew up with the system to its point to
Yeah,
where it is today. It's like I feel the same way. Obviously, I remember the little idiosyncrasies of the system. Still, I mean, the whole Wi-Fi adapter that you touched upon that was like $100 adapter that you had to plug
yeah,
into the back of your system to get wireless. Gamers will not have that problem in this generation at all
no,
because it's built into the console. But back then, around 2010, 2011, Microsoft decided that they wanted to go forth and not have it built into their systems for their 360, but instead you had to have a Wi-Fi adapter, plug it to the back of your system. It actually had little grooves where you can plug it in, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't, for the longest of time, play online with
yeah,
360 unless I was plugged in LAN, because that
yeah.
my parents would get pissed off because I'd have a literal 10-foot LAN cable going from my room all the way up to their computer, plug it into the back of their things. My mom would look at me with a big old disgust. It's like, oh no, not again. And I'm like,
I remember, yeah, I totally forgot like playing Battle Star Wars Battlefront in the original Xbox. Like, I play like the only time I could really play it was like late at night because in case you got a phone call because you couldn't talk on the phone. You couldn't get phone calls. You had to unplug your phone to play the hook up to the internet back then, unless you were like rich and you could afford an extra landline.
dude, I
So
remember now that I think about it, through that experience, I remember the first time I played Halo 2 online, and we had just got some Papa Murphy's pizza, right? And I
mm-hmm.
stupidly went into the kitchen. This is me as like 18, 19-year-old, like a young adult at this point. I took a slice, right? And I totally remember this now. It was not cooked. I ate a fucking raw piece of pizza
Oh my god,
without me even realizing, wow, this is kind of chewy. Like, and my mom's like, "Hey, why
God,
did you do that?" Like, I don't know.
the oven's preheating. What are you doing?
It's one of those type of idiosyncrasy type of moments and stuff because it's like that is a moment I will associate with the Xbox in general, Xbox 360, the gamer nights, the
Yeah,
random funny shit or something like that, the random party chats and stuff like that on Xbox Live and like the party things for Halo 3 where I literally there was this one chat or something like that where a bunch of my friends and I were like playing some Halo 3 and all of a sudden it's like some dude was talking smack and stuff and I just go through with my one of my impressions and stuff of like one of the Family Guy characters or something like that. It's like, hey, you want some popsicles down your basement?
got some
Just
popsicles in the basement for you. That's a really good impression, by the way, Gables. You did a really good job with that one.
oh my god, I just chime
I
in
got a
just like,
tip for you in my pocket.
come give me some good news. And it's like the whole party chat erupted in laughter after I did that, dude. It was just one of those Xbox Live moments to where it's like we're all tired of shit. We just played a couple different like rounds of Slayer or Team Slayer or this shit, and all of a sudden it's like, well, this made this night amazing.
Yeah. Some of the gamer nights are some of the most fun. Like that's like like how this podcast started was. I remember Jake and I playing fucking Borderlands on a Talk Ship gamer night
That's
years ago,
true. I think you
and
told
then
me
that
about that too.
yeah, and like that's like it turned to us have that's, and then it turned us having literally what started this podcast was us playing. We did a gamer night and we were joking around having a good time. Like oh I like this guy. And then like it turned to us like the Talking Ship forums had like uh a tier like a leaderboard
Yep,
for a gamer score, and you were able to tie your Xbox account to the Talking Ship forums.
that's true.
And there was one guy, another Justin, not our Justin, different Justin, that we're still friends with. He's still part of the group.
Oh,
He was far and away number one
oh no shit.
for gamer score. But Jake and I were going back and forth for number two, and we would constantly like jumping each other, and that's how the friendship started, and that's how it turned into us fucking starting DrunkNerds podcast.
And that's
because
how
the
we
gamer score.
and that's how we would piss off Jake too.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
A whole
Yeah,
myriad of
uh,
shit that we piss him off of, but still.
yeah,
Oh God, I remember
yeah.
I honestly now that you say mention it and stuff, it was there one of those gamer nights for Sarcastic Gamer that you, myself, and Jake, that's how we all met. That's how we went on Black Ops is when we started playing
Mm,
that one of those gamer nights and stuff like that. And I remember that's where I met Cam for the first time and stuff like that, like Cam Dog and stuff like that. He was
yeah, we called him Cum Puppy back then because he was under 18. It's a real thing, by the way.
Oh God! And then like one of the times and stuff where like I had just listened to an episode like fresh off of like the whole Dink Dink episode and stuff, and I went through and I like, oh hey, I shot him with the Dink Dink, and all of a sudden just fucking like Doc just started busting out laughing, and Dave's like,
Oh man,
really?
yeah. Oh yeah. I remember making Dave, for one of the co-founders of Sarcastic Gamer,
Yeah.
really mad because we were playing. I was incredibly drunk playing Borderlands 2. We were all very drunk, but I was very drunk.
Oh God.
And for some reason they had me drive, and I drove us. I drove us right into the fucking volcano, and killed us all immediately because Jitterbug,
Oh
the
shit.
founder, one of the co-founders of Talking Ship, and he was a podcaster there. He bet me that I couldn't drive backwards. And I immediately drove backwards into the volcano, and he was so mad at me about because if you died, you lost half your money. He was so
Oh
fucking pissed.
no. Ah, that's
I remember
amazing.
like it was funny you mentioned Doc, who was the founder of Extra Life.
Yeah.
I remember like probably I think the last time I ever talked to him and I played games with him was the weekend that Grand Theft Auto 5 online came out on
Oh, that's
360.
right. That
And I
2013.
remember it was like 3 in the morning. He was still online playing with us. There was only a handful of us, and we decided to go golfing. And
Okay.
I started to, so we went and played. We were gonna do a round. We were gonna do a hole 18. This is what we are gonna do. And before you go in, you can like dress your character and like however you want. Like they all dress them up like in like proper like golfing attire, and I dressed my guy up, and all he was wearing was his underwear. And fucking all of it, like when like I was like trying, like I was like doing that when something funny is about to happen but you're trying not to laugh, and you're just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm good, I'm totally not gonna laugh. And that was me. And as it did like a slow zoom over to me, like from the golf ball to me. It's just me in my underwear, and everybody fucking dying. God, man, 360, man, what a
Oh,
what a time in life, and what a goddamn
oh,
console, man.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Golf clap to the fucking 360. Golf clap, golf clap. Yeah, there we go.
Oh shit.
Oh man, I didn't even wake my dog up on that one. That was a very good golf clap.
Oh,
But yeah,
so many good
God,
points.
yeah, so many. Oh God, uh, peak time off. Did not expect to spend almost 35 minutes talking about Xbox, but
No, but that was
oh
awesome.
man, it was yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it's just like once I started talking about it, all these memories just started flooding in as I was talking about
Same.
it. So yeah, that was awesome. But a couple little quick hitters here to talk about Gables. You put this in here. I want you to tell me about this one.
All right.
So PlayStation Home is back by the fans.
All right. So I initially went through and put in this article because there has been something interesting a brew in regards to the whole PlayStation community in regards to the homebrew scene. So there is a dedicated group that's going through and trying to resurrect some of the online servers for specific PS3 games. Like we're talking about games like MotorStorm, like Warhawk and stuff like that with that potential stuff.
What about Mag?
I don't know about Meg, but I would dude, that would be fucking
Twisted
hilarious.
Metal,
Dude,
Skyhawk.
I wouldn't
Was
doubt that. But
God, that was Starhawk, Warhawk, Starhawk.
apparently there is a dedicated group that's going through and orchestrating trying to resurrect some of these games that used to play online for the PS3 by have their dedicated servers, have this and that and stuff. It's a definitely a fan passion project, and it's actually eventually led to this current article that I was reading this past week, where apparently people are trying to resurrect PlayStation Home on the PS3. Now, for those that have no idea what PlayStation Home is, which I don't blame you because not a lot of people that invested even back then in the PS3 were had some interest in PS Home. It's quintessentially it's quintessentially how you would akin right now to say like a VR chat or like a Second Life in that regard. So Second Life was a quote unquote life simulator that initially was released early, like around the 2000s or something like that. I want to say it's fairly old at this point, and there have been like a lot of stuff that has been eventually like said about that particular game itself. But PlayStation Home was pretty much a get together with a bunch of random owners of the PS3 and stuff. So you have all these people that would crowd into like these specific hubs and stuff to where you could do things like say you could play a game of bowling or you could just hang around a room and just chat, blah 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 and so on and so forth. So it's like the VR chat before VR chat, when essentially only not as remotely hilarious and definitely not as remotely well, it was actually more like a tame in that regards and stuff like that. But it was kind of hilarious in regards to some of the content that would come out of PS Home. I mean, you could pay for like try to play specific type of games on that thing, which it was totally a gimmick. But there were times where you'd have games that have like themes or specific courses or specific costumes that you can dress up your PlayStation Home character in or their base. I literally my avatar was dressed as Cole McGrath, and I was inside the freaking Bat Cave of like because I love Infamous and I loved like Batman Arkham Asylum and stuff, and so I had the fucking Bat Cave because that was a DLC pre like DLC content that came with the disc. So
I just want to know if I can wear my Subway Cup Uncharted 3 tie-in mascot out uniform.
honestly, if it's there's a good possibility that you could.
That I'm in, and I want to be able to, I want to have to still wait in virtual lines to play bowling.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was a thing. And that was one of the freaking faults of that PS Home where you had to actually wait in lines digitally in order to fucking get to these games, which is so stupid when you think about it. Because here you are, you're on a digital thing away from reality, and you have to wait in a line in order to get some of your turn. But
So stupid.
I remember mostly about PlayStation Home was there were E3 like Electronic Entertainment Expo like conferences like the PS3 like the PlayStation conferences in general. Like say you actually were able to watch them live. So for some for some of the conferences you were able to watch live through PlayStation Home. So let's put into perspective here. You know where you had things like say Fortnite and stuff to where you get to watch certain artists and stuff perform live or do this and do that type of shit and stuff. Well, on Sony's PlayStation 3 through home, you could actually watch their game conferences and stuff through their service. I did that once. And I didn't ever do that again because it was the most boring shit imaginable. So basically, you'd have to wait inside these little mosaics and stuff like that because people would gather around these little mosaics and stuff to watch certain game trailers or something like that. I think I watched one for like Uncharted 3, and I watched like a one for like fucking, I think it was either, oh god, it was a specific type of MotorStorm game, but I don't remember which. It's been that long. But
Aftershock.
maybe. Maybe I think this is the one that got delayed and stuff because of the earthquake in Japan.
Didn't that one just never come out?
That's a
I,
possibility too. I don't remember
I
it.
think because there was a tsunami in Japan, and it was
Yes,
the week before it was supposed to come out, and they just delayed it. And I think that one
that
just
was
never came
Pacific
out.
Rift, I think.
Pacific Rift, yeah. That, I mean,
That one was
understandably, they did not release it because it's a game based about being near the Pacific Ocean, and the week before the game was coming out, uh, Japan got hit with a terrible tsunami,
yep,
destroyed the country. And I was like,
absolutely.
yeah, it'd be really insensitive for us to release this game about tsunamis the week after we just got our asses whooped by a tsunami.
Yeah, I think back then they delayed it like about a couple months. Now I think about it.
Yeah, I thought that one just never came out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mixing up racing games from that. I remember there's a racing game that was supposed to come out and just never came out. But
Mm.
maybe I'm mixing it up. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry.
Okay, so basically the whole purpose of this article in general is like, okay, you have this dedicated group that wants to bring back PlayStation Home. And it's interesting because we've been hearing rumblings, especially like on through other news sources, not like through other like rumor mills and stuff like that. Nothing really concrete, but there have been rumors going around this year in regards to Sony potentially wanting to resurrect PlayStation Home. You have dedicated fans that want to bring this service back, even though I don't know how PlayStation Home would work in this like
I
state as it is with all the PlayStation stuff being shut down quintessentially for PS3.
I think it would work now better than ever when you look at like VR, and then also if you just look at like what Fortnite's done
Yeah,
with like their events they've done or like concerts they've done. I think VR is definitely pushed that Fort and Fortnite. Those two key things that have really pushed that, where there's just like events and there's like make them make have these big huge events in there that everybody can enjoy instead of just like, hey, watch some trailers for PS3 games. Like I it's more I'd say it's probably more viable now than it was then.
right.
Um, it, but yeah, I don't know
I honestly could see something like
how
that
this would work.
potentially happening, and potentially working, say on the PS5 or whatsoever, to where it's like if they do release their subsequent sequel for say PlayStation VR and stuff like that, could you just imagine like having a VR chat style of game like on the PlayStation 5 with people just
Oh
doing
no, I
stupid
won't.
shit?
I will not be a part of this. I will not be. No, not at all. I don't. I want nothing to do with this. I just for people that want this, I hope this happens. I'm
uh,
good. I will pass.
oh, what? No random you being inside a lobby or something with like just a bunch of Ugandan knuckles just surrounding you?
No, no thanks. No thanks. The one guy that dressed up like a girl and he's like surrounded by everybody thinks it's an actual girl, so they surround him, which is a real thing that happened on PlayStation Home.
Oh
And
yeah,
you'd hear about
yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
God,
That actually did happen
very
quite a bit,
pathetic and
actually.
disgusting. Yeah, it was very sad. It's very sad, pathetic, and disgusting that this was the thing that happened. It's like, wow, really great way to make us look like, really prove that we are douchebags.
Well, that's just the thing, It's like if you really wanted attention or something from people or something like that, especially for places like PlayStation Home, you created a female avatar, and that's what ended up happening. You get showered in attention because a bunch of horny preteens or a bunch of horny like
45
creepy
year
old
olds.
men or something, just going on to any type of like gaming thing and stuff and trying to do this and that. It's yeah, it came with the territory, really. I mean, you would see
Yeah.
stuff like that. You'd see like random people, just random female avatars being chased after by guys and stuff like that. It was
Look at my
weird.
Uncharted 3 Subway Cup. Love me.
Oh god, I
Oh.
think the one time I remember for PlayStation Home the most is like I had a group of friends I had met like through a message board and stuff like that. We were just chilling for like a good solid 20 minutes and stuff like that, and we were just doing nothing but like fucking dancing and stuff. Because they had options where you could do like dancing and stuff. There's like weird ass like dances and stuff. We just took a couple pictures of that, and that was it. So yeah, it was pretty like kind of tame, and quite honestly, I kind of felt like at the time PlayStation Home really much its course. It went through its course in that regards, and quite honestly, it's like I am happy to see that people want to go forth and resurrect it, but at the same time, it's like I could definitely go onto other types of platforms and stuff to get something similar but better.
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely a place of time, and I don't. Yeah. Well, we'll see. But one more little quick hitter here is I don't know really what to say about this one. Amazon is making a Mass Effect show apparently. I
Oh,
don't think it's a done deal, but it sounds like it's about as close to it being a done deal without having signatures. Um, it's been talked about forever. I know there's been people want to make Mass Effect movies. Like we're finally getting that Halo TV show next year. That's been going on. Like Steven Spielberg was going to make like 18 years ago.
yeah.
That's finally happening. I think it's like Paramount Plus. So now we have Amazon doing this. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool if they did like the cool thing about like shows like this is like you can really do a show about anything and make it your own. Cover a whole different section that isn't part of the games. You don't have to do Commander Shepard. But I think it's just gonna be Commander Shepard in this story. Maybe they could do a better ending to Commander Shepard's story. I don't know. It's not. It's a pretty low bar. What about you, Gables?
Honestly, I don't. really mind if like they're making like a TV series about it. Just make it good. Make it how make it as good a quality as say how The Witcher is for Netflix. I mean,
Yeah,
quintessentially people loved that Netflix series because of how faithful it remained to its source material on top of like having great acting, great actors and great plot points in that regards. I know I've never personally
yeah,
watched The Witcher stuff, but at the same time I've heard a bunch of
it's fun.
praise. I've heard a bunch of like
Yeah,
good stuff in regards to it. When it comes to Mass Effect, I do love the Mass Effect games. I most recently platinumed the first two games on PS4, the PS4 versions on PS5. Still want to go through Mass Effect 3 at some point, maybe next year. But
yeah,
the thing is, it's like the story is ripe for a bunch of exploration, and there's a bunch of fun lore and things they can go into in terms of the alien races and this and that and stuff. My hope of it is like make it interesting. Don't insert a lot of stupid agenda shit just for the sake of stupid agenda shit. Just go forth and just remain to the source material. Have some fun with it, and stuff. And I want it to be fun and enjoyable, make me want to watch it.
yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's like I understand if you do Commander Shepard because that's probably the one that'll draw the most eyeballs, make it the most
Right,
interesting.
right.
Um, I don't know, it's just more like it's like I mean, yeah, I guess Witcher's done it, but it's also based off of books that's a little different.
Yeah,
But I understand what you're saying. Like it's proof that we can actually have. I mean, Witcher's more is popular because of the video games, not the books, though.
that's true.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it could be done, but I just like I think about like that Resident Evil movie where it's like for years everybody's like, and even myself was like, just base it off the fucking video games, and they did it, and it's awful. I haven't
Yeah,
watched it yet, but everybody says it's awful, and it looked awful. Um, so I mean, obviously that's Resident Evil, is Mass Effect. I just there's so much cool shit you can do in Mass Effect that
absolutely.
I think it's just more so there's something like there's so much lore to that franchise and that series, and it's literally it's a whole galaxy that there's so many things you can do. Like there's so much shit that you can do that you don't have to do Commander Shepard. I
No,
get why you would do it, but there's just yeah, like I said, there's so many other avenues you could jump in. Like you could talk about the original, like the first contact wars,
hmm
um, with the not the get with
yeah, the Rachni and the
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 Rachni and like
Chong, the people of Chong, the Krogan. That's what I was saying.
the Krogan, but I was like I'm talking about like the what was Garrus? What was his species? I totally draw a blank on that one.
Valkyrian, not Valkyrian.
Turian.
A Turian,
But like
yes.
when the Turians and the humans like when the humans first met the aliens and then the Turians and the humans went to war, shit like that. There's so many things you can do that I'd almost like I'd love them to expand upon that. Honestly, like that shit. I think it's more as like more the hardcore nerd where you're just like, there's so many other cool things I'd like to know about that I already know this story. I want to know. I want to see like this shit. Yeah, I want to see more of that stuff. So, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. Obviously, it's not even done yet, so we'll have to obviously wait a little bit to see what's going on with that. But let's move on to what we've been playing.
All
Gables, do you
right.
want to go first? Do you want me to go?
Why don't we have you go first this one?
Okay. So I have been playing a couple of games here. I'm gonna save the Pokemon talk with you.
All right.
So I'll just talk about the other couple games real fast. Playing more Halo. I played a ton of that on Thanksgiving. I played
Hmm.
like 4 hours
Oh
on
wow.
Thanksgiving. I really like this game. It's so like it's
Hmm.
the most I like even playing by myself. Like the most I've been like I think I put like 7 hours into it. But I'm just like playing it. I'm having a blast with that fucking game. I just hate the goddamn the fucking progression is just awful. Um,
I've heard
I
that
thought
too.
last week I was on level 2 Gables.
Uh huh.
I, I was on level 1 because you start at level 0. I've
Oh
yeah,
wow.
so which is whatever. But like I've played 25 games or so, give or take. And I literally just hit level 2. I'm not even talking like, oh, I'm halfway through. No, I'm at the beginning of level 2. Um, and there's 100
Dude.
fucking levels.
At that point, if you played 25 games and stuff, you would be possibly like at level 5 in like other games.
No, you'd be like level like 13, 14 in this like in other games, especially
Right.
because I've been enjoying playing like rank mode,
Uh
like
huh.
ranked because after you play 10 games, it puts you in like different classes
Oh,
based on how you're doing, which is great because I'm terrible at this game. So I can play with other people who are terrible at this game, and I'm
hey,
actually okay at this game now. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And like I'm having like the games of my life in this fucking mode. Like playing this, like I am in like usually top 2 every single time. I'm not looking forward to the day where I get bumped up. I'm literally at the bottom of the 4 classes. I think there's 4, but I'm at the bottom. Uh, but I'm like top 2 every single time. I'm not looking forward to when I get bumped to number 3 because hopefully they can quickly put me back down to 4. But like I'm not kidding. Like I'm like, and I'm even Slayer, which is just kill 50 enemies, kicking ass. I'm
nice.
talking like 15 and 5. Oddball. I'm playing oddball. I'm whooping ass. Fucking the capture like the capture one where you got the capture all different points. Doing really great in. I mean I'm doing great, and it's really upsetting when it's like, like you had 2,700 points. You captured fucking 19 different posts. You 18 and 7. KD's kills the deaths. Here's 50 experience points for playing a goddamn game, motherfucker. And then like really, this is all like that's all I get. I could have went 0 and 19 and did nothing and got 50 experience points. And then like you don't even get points for winning. You don't even get points for unlocking like this like kill 5 enemies with melee attacks, or kill 5 enemies without dying, or take over so many command posts.
Right.
Shit like that. Like there's like those like I don't remember what they're called, but like rewards you get at the end for doing certain things. Then you get extra points for that. The challenges are totally based off of, and that's part of the like you got like some of them like skill like kill 5 enemies with this weapon. It's like I don't want to play the game with that weapon. I want to play the game I'm enjoying, but I also want to gain
Yeah.
experience with. Or be like play win 3 quick play games of Slayer, and it's like the problem is there's no way to like if you're playing by yourself you can't just select a game type to play and then search for a game. You got to do quick
Hmm.
play. So you got to hope for the quick play gods to give you the game mode that you need to play to unlock that challenge. And then you got to not
Wow.
only be lucky enough to get that game mode, you have to win the goddamn game, which 50-50 Gables, 50-50 that's happening at best for me. Um, so it's like the odds are not so much in my favor on this one. Because I play games like I need to win 3 quick play games of Slayer or whatever. And it's like, well, I just played 4 games in a row and I got fucking capture the flag every single goddamn time. Or I got oddball, capture the flag. And it's like I got Slayer, and then it's like, god damn it. So and then you see that a lot where people like a game will boot up and they immediately leave because they probably didn't get the game they wanted. So it's like, well, fuck me, man.
Well,
It's like,
that's a problem because if you can't
yeah,
select the one mode that you want to go for to get those accomplishments and stuff like fulfilled and stuff, then it's of course you're gonna have people dropping games at that point because you're just giving them just a random slog and stuff to where they want to get like maybe a specific mode, but they can't because they've been inside capture the flag like 10 matches in a row or
yeah,
oddball 3 matches in a row, and where they just want to play a Slayer game or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or even if you don't want to play the challenge, you just want to play Slayer. Unless you start up a custom, I did try to start up a custom game, and then I just nobody joined my fucking game. I'm
No.
like, what the fuck? So I'm like, all right. I literally just played. I played like 2-3 minutes, and it was just me by myself. I'm like, well, fuck. Um, so yeah, that's playing that. Like I said, it's a great game. It's just they need to fix that soon. Um, and the other thing I'm playing, I talked about at the top of the show, Deathloop.
Yeah.
Uh, Before we started podcasting, I have probably spent 12 of the last 24 hours playing Deathloop. Gables,
Wow. Really?
I can understand. We spent a lot of time talking about it for game of like we were joking around, but like it was like in every goddamn category for game of the year
Yeah.
this year. And I was like, well, I'm like, and then we talked about that, and then like it was on dirt cheap for it was $25 or $30 for me. Like, all right, I got to check it out. It's like I was always interested in it. It was just the time loop stuff. I'm not a big rogue light guy or time loop guy. It's never really my thing. I did enjoy Majora's Mask on 3DS, but like that's and the Hades I liked for different reasons. Like, but I liked it because there was like a storyline to it, and it wasn't just a thing that you were doing. Um, so I was like, I was worried about getting like overwhelmed by that.
Right.
Um, so playing this, he plays Colt,
Yes,
uh,
Colt.
and he wakes up. and like on a beach, and he's like he has no memory of what's going on, and um,
To verbatim, to paraphrase, like, fuck, what is my name?
yeah, yeah. Uh, so he literally wakes up. He has no idea who he is, what his name is, why, where he's at, what he's doing, and as you progress, you find out. All right, so he's Colt. He's on this base of this island that's living in a time loop, and he's being chased by this woman Juliana, who they know each other, um, and basically she will come in your game and will try to kill you, but you can kill her. Um, there's a lot of things to say. Like there is some overwhelming aspects to it at first to me, but over time, like it's gotten a lot easier. And this game does a really good job of like hand holding on the aspect of like showing you what you need to do, like not show, telling you what you need to do, like when you can do it, what you need to do, all this. Like it's not as like typically when you play these kind of games, it's like you lose everything. Um, you it's just like you gotta figure shit out as you go. This one does a really good job. Like here's all the objectives you gotta do. You gotta figure out how to do it once you're there. But here's where you need to go, when you gotta go. So like the way it works out, there's 4 different areas to go to, but there's 4 different times of days. So there's more. There's morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. Um, and every time you go into an area and you leave that area,
Mm-hmm.
um, that the when you go to the next area, so you go to an area, you pick one of the 4 areas. Say you go there in the morning, you come in and out of a tunnel. Once you go back to the tunnel, you go back to the next area. Now it's noon. So the cool thing is that you have 3 lives per area,
All right.
which is awesome. So when you like in the same loop, you can die more than 3 times. So like you can die twice in that area. Once you go back to the tunnel, you're still in the loop. You can anything you picked up in there, you can use this thing called residum. I believe is how you say it, but it's like basically it's the currency of the game where you can use that to like put more money towards like trinkets, which are like what you need to like increase like personal skills.
Right.
Like I have it set up like one of the ones I have is like I regenerate health, or another one is like I can use my hacking thing that like I can actually hack mines and turn it and use it on other people, or I can hack things faster, or you regenerate more health, things like that. Then there's like trinkets that you can put towards weapons. Um, which like reload faster or hold more ammo or think just more shit like that. And then like this resident you have you can actually use to like basically infuse it, which saves that. So you have those every run after that. So you get a really badass weapon or a really great trinket. You want to keep it. You can infuse it. You only get they're kind of rare to get. So you gotta pick your poison, pick which ones you want to use, and then it also that's what helps when you do like a one full run, and like you don't skip times, because you're building up more residum and finding better things you can use and
All
better
right.
trinkets shit like that. So a lot of things going on. Like that was a little overwhelming at first. Still kind of is because I don't know if I'm doing the right thing on some of these sometimes. But sometimes I get like a little too. I hold on to my money a little too much, and then I'm like, oh fuck, like I should just because the resident you lose it at the end of the loop. And like I said, if you die 3 times in a section, you die, you start over, and the only time you can save anything that you found is when you get back to the tunnel, and then you can
Oh.
use the resident to buy it. Um, there's a lot of very confusing aspects. It's hard. I was like trying to think about how am I going to explain this because I don't really know how to explain any of this. But I'll say like it's very tough to explain without sounding overwhelming. But like I said, there was a stretch in there where I'm like, once it opened up and it showed all the different like paths to go, I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna like this because like I just don't like doing the same thing over and over again. But like it feels more like Majora's Mask in the way where like there's 4 different areas, there's 4 different times, and every time you go, but there's really like 16 different things because every time you go to this area, you might the morning, the afternoon, the noon, the morning, noon, afternoon, and night.
Right.
The areas are totally different each time. Certain things only happen in this time frame. So if you missed it,
Oh,
you gotta
okay.
do a loop over again. Or like you go to this area at night, there's way more fucking people out there trying to kill you. And some of the interesting stuff here is like so everybody in this loop, except for the people that are trying to kill you, don't know they're in a loop. Like
Mm.
so, there's like a lot of main people. There's a lot of people in here that just like there's 8 visionaries as they're called, and basically the key is like there's a big party going on at night, and you got to get away. You got to figure out a way to get all of them to that party at night. So you're doing these loops over and over again, but like you like you're going here. Okay, well you find out, and they do a good job of like you're not wasting too much time of like figuring this shit out. But like you go here in the morning, you talk like you find like you read diaries or you read things or you listen to fucking audio tapes or you read emails, shit like that, or you like you listen to conversations or things like that, and you find out, okay, well, they're not going to go to this party because of this, so now I got to do this thing to cause them. So like, well, now they have to now they're going to go to the party because I fucked this up for them,
Oh.
or like basically you got to kill all 8 of them in one loop, and so the key is you have to get all 8 of them to this party, so you can kill all of them in the same time frame.
Hmm.
Because you can't, because if you like when when the loop resets, everything once the loop's over or you die 3 times in an area, starts the whole thing over again. So, but the cool thing is like as you learn this shit, like so Colt, he remembers everything. So if you find codes or for safes or doors or whatever, he remembers it. You don't have to remember it. He does it for you.
Oh, good.
You do things in runs. It will like you don't have to do them all in one run. So like I had to fuck up this guy's science project. That was his excuse for not going. Minor spoilers for this one. Uh, like there's something he was like project he was working on. I sabotaged it. So now he's like, well, like he was skipping the party because of this. So now he's gonna go to the party because he doesn't have a project to work on. So now he's gonna be there. Shit like that. So like, and even though like I did that in one of my early runs, it stays every single time.
Oh.
So it's like not everything resets.
Okay, so that specific thing will actually remain while like a
Yeah.
specific key points that you've already triggered, you don't have to repeat, and so that automatically is like that, so that way you can focus on the next person that do their
Yes.
things.
And that was my concern was like I don't want to have to like do I do this all in one go like God just sounds like super stressful and like it was giving me anxiety just thinking about that.
Sounds like a speed
So
run.
that was yeah like but like you got like a perfect speed run where you got to do everything in a certain time frame and you can't die because then it starts all over again. Um, but yeah, so you have a lot of that going on like I said like learning more about the trinkets and the weapons is really great. Learning more about the story, you got like so sometimes like you can kill these visionaries multiple times, and they drop like really good like trinkets, some of the best weapons in the game they own, and they have these things called slabs, which are kind of like the Dishonored special abilities. Like you have shift where you can teleport. You have
Right.
another one where like you can actually like um, I can't remember what it's called, but like you can basically like you do some and like it shows like you throw this thing at these enemies they can't see it or anything like that but like it shows like this tree that like this branch that like string that connects them
Hmm.
and if like whatever damage you do to that guy it does to him too. So if
Oh,
you go up
okay.
and melee kill him it'll kill him too, but you can eventually like you can upgrade it enough till you can do it to a whole there might be 10 of them standing in one spot. You give all of them you tie them all together on like the string essentially. You kill one, kills all of them, boom like that. um, and some of the ways you unlock upgrades is by you have to like kill them multiple times, which is something I don't necessarily love. So like one of the guys I think each one has 3 or 4 different upgrades, so you have to go kill them once, take the slab, then you gotta get back, you gotta run back you can't die on the way back to the tunnel. You get back to the tunnel, then you can save it. That's a big thing. You can't if you die or you don't save it, you don't infuse it, spend residum to save it, then you lose it, which has happened to me a couple times. That fucking sucks.
Ugh.
Uh, so like I maxed out the shift upgrades. I got all the upgrades for that one. But the only way like to really get to get the upgrades is by either killing them again multiple times, meaning but you find different paths to get there, and like you when once you like one of the guys like you kill, I had the shift ability, and I
Right.
found quick and easy ways to get to him because he's like at the top of a tower instead of like fighting through this whole fucking tower. I found a quick way to get there, kill him really fast. Did that multiple times, upgraded that really super fast. Didn't like the first 2 3 times I did it took like 20 minutes. After that, it took me like 5
Hmm.
to do the last couple. Um, it's all there's so many different paths like just like Dishonored. There's so many different paths how to get there. And you can like you learn like oh I could have went through this fucking window, snuck all the way around, doing this or like fucking crawl all the way up here through a hole or go underground. Like there's so many different paths to get to these areas. Um, but yeah, I'm having like This I really like Colt and Juliana. Like Juliana's like she will jump into your game, and the problem like what sucks is like when she jumps in her game, she can she's tough to kill. Uh, she's probably the hardest enemy you're gonna fight in the game. And but the
Okay.
cool thing is if you kill her, she drops really great trinkets, a really good random weapon,
Oh.
and then also she will drop either a random slab or a upgrade for a slab.
Oh.
So that's so I've killed her a handful of times, and like I was on a mission, and I'm like, well, she gave me a really good slab, and I don't really want like I don't want to risk losing this or this upgrade. I'm just gonna end this run, and I'm just gonna run back and fucking go back to the exit, start over, like save that so that way, because I don't want to die and lose it, and then start a new run. I'll just do
Oh,
it
I
over again.
see. I see.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, there's a lot. There's a lot of systems and a lot of things you gotta learn that are very overwhelming at first, but like once you like kind of learn it, like the first like 3 4 hours I'm a blast. And there was like a section in the middle there where I'm like, I don't like I'm liking this game, but like I feel like I'm like, am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm good at this game, if I'm doing it right, but now like I'm playing a few more hours. Like I probably played like 9 10 hours, all said when all said and done. Uh, but yeah, I'm having a fucking blast with this game. Like I want to keep playing it for sure. I'm definitely gonna keep playing it, but I don't know. It's probably still not gonna be my game of the year at this point. But I totally understand now why it is high on a lot of people, pretty much gamers and the media and journalists. It's high on their list as well. So if this wins game of the year, like I think last week when we were recording and talking about it, it's like we hadn't played it yet, and I'm just like, I think this is gonna be the one. I'm like, now I get it. Now I'm getting it, and I want to keep playing it. But it's like I don't like these types of games. Like I said, they give me like a lot of times they give me anxiety and
Right.
like that's for like just replaying sections over and over again, frustrating. But it's so they do a great job being so different that I don't have a problem doing it over again. Like I get frustrated at times, for sure, especially when you're having a great run and you've like, you're like you've done 3 sections, you're in the last section, and you have all this residence saved up. You're like on this last mission. You have all these badass weapons you haven't fucking infused, or like you try to get like a little, like I said, try to be a little tight with the money, or I don't know if I want to spend the money on this yet because, or the resident yet on this because I might get something better later and I don't want to blow it yet. And then you fucking die and you lose everything. You're like, God damn it. So like that shit, like it's definitely still sucks. That's frustrating, but like part of the game. And like, but it's like it's good enough. And it's like it's not like it's definitely very challenging in the beginning, but like as you're getting better upgrades and better weapons, it's definitely getting easier. But yeah, I'm having a fucking blast with this game. Gables, what have you been playing, buddy?
All right. So predominantly, I was playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Honestly, honestly, there's a couple things I can say. I went through and I have beaten the game.
Oh wow, okay.
Let's just say that. But the process of how I beat it, I thought it was kind of interesting because I remember back in the day when I played through the original Pokemon Diamond and stuff. I remember there were certain tidbits that I didn't enjoy as much as I thought I would. There were obviously some elements I did enjoy and stuff. One of the things was kind of like the stagnation in terms of the storytelling in that regards, and because Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl take structure mostly after the original Diamond and Pearl releases, it felt kind of wonky at some points because in some of the story elements in regards to this Pokemon game, it feels kind of jarring because at one point and stuff you'll go from when you just finish off the second gym leader battle, right? And it's like between gyms, the second gym leader fight and the third gym leader fight and stuff. There's a long portion of it to where like you'll have a bunch of battles, you'll have a bunch of random stuff that you'll go through with and stuff. I thought it was kind of interesting in regards to just reliving that because I totally see how people were to get disinterested inside of that story back then because it's like you go through like a pretty much like a couple hours stint and stuff like doing a whole bunch of different things. Like the Grand Underground kind of like opens up to you, and that's I spent a lot of time in the Grand Underground. I thought it was fairly fun because here I was doing like a bunch of catching specific Pokemon and stuff. I actually caught a Murkrow doing this stuff, so like I caught a Murkrow. I had it on my team and stuff like that. I actually did what I suggested you should have done, like say last week and stuff, to where if you wanted a grass Pokemon, there's Rosalia available like later on in the game. Capture one of them, so I end up doing that. So
I
my
got a Bedeau and I evolved her.
oh,
So
good, 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 good. So basically, what my team consisted of is like I had my starter, which was a Chimchar and stuff. I had that Shinx that I had bought that I had like caught and stuff like that. Then I had this thing called a Buizel, which is basically almost like a like it's pretty much like a sea weasel, quintessentially what it is. It's fast, but yet it's a physical water attacker, right? So a predominant part of my team were like physical element attackers. So you'd have like my Chimchar, which is physical fire, and then like obviously fighting type stuff. Physical electric type that was Shinx and stuff. Physical water type that was Weasel. Then like you had like physical attacker in terms of Murkrow. But the last two and stuff. I mean, my my freaking Rosalia that I had caught and stuff like that. That's pretty much a special attacker, right? So grass and stuff. But there were a lot of different elements with that. And the last member of my team that I had rounded up, I caught a Gibble inside that underground cycling thing. That there was this cave, right, that you can go into, but you don't really gain access to this full thing until you get the badge from the Conalave, like city or something, that gym and stuff. Because until badge 6, you're not able to use like strength. And so
hmm.
you'll have access to go into this cave, right? But you'll be barred off by these three boulders that you can technically move with strength, but you can't really use it up until like far later on in the game. And so I waited until that point before I faced off against the last gym leader and stuff to like do a whole bunch of like different types of stuff, catching Pokemon, this and that. But I waited until that point to go back to that cave, explored that cave, got a couple of TMs. I caught a Gibble, which basically it's a dragon type Pokemon, right? It's a pseudo legendary. It's a false. It's like one of those Pokemon that's strong enough to be an actual legendary Pokemon, but yet it's not quite. It's still like one of like the main things in regards to the whole Sinnoh Pokedex and stuff, to where it fully evolves into Garchomp. And Garchomp is extremely awesome in regards to having in the main game because it has a huge access of like specific types of moves you can use through Dragon, through ground type attacks. I mean, it's Dragon and ground type. One of the most powerful attacks in the game is Earthquake, and that's like 100 base power, essentially. So that's huge in regards to that. So I fully evolved into Garchomp. I had my Rosalia, I had evolved into like a Roserade and stuff like that. That Roserade is so fucking awesome because it's like you could teach it not only Pedal Dance, like Pedal Dance was one. I taught it Shadow Ball. I had like Sludge Bomb that I had found the TM for Sludge Bomb, and there was like another move, Attract. That was a move that I use in later on for the Elite Four and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, when I got up to the last point before the final gym leader, I looked at my team and was like, why do I feel weaker than I should be? And it wasn't until I started looking up a little bit of like back information on Cerebi.net, like the main Pokemon website and stuff. I went through some of the things and I learned that, oh hey, if I go to this move relearner, like this move like relearner in Pastoria City, this there is a person that you could talk to with, if you give them a heart scale, your Pokemon can learn a specific move that it either forgot or it can actually instinctively like relearn or something like that automatically. Like there are a set amount of moves and stuff that some Pokemon will learn without leveling up. So it's like I had gathered a whole bunch of heart scales through my time at the Grand Underground. I got a whole bunch of stones, I got a whole bunch of statuettes. I never bothered with the den stuff inside the Grand Underground, so I used a lot of that, and I taught my Infernape Flare Blitz because I would have had to have waited until level 58 in order to learn that, and here I am like 10 levels earlier learning it. And then on top of that, it's like I taught my Roserade like Pedal Dance because that was a move it could not learn at the side of its Rosalia form, because at that point it it was not even an option in terms of learning it. So I did a couple things, and especially with Floatzel, the evolved form of Weasel and stuff, to where there are two moves that it doesn't learn through level up that you'll need. One's Ice Fang, and the other one is Crunch. that you can learn through like do like a relearn stuff. So that was part of the reminder to me. It's like, okay, I had to go to this person to go forth and relearn like certain moves and stuff so them to be fully competent in terms of like coverage. Because that's the most important thing towards the end game. It's like it's coverage of moves, techniques, and stuff, how you're able to tank specific hits of specific types, how you're able to outspeed certain Pokemon in that regards. So I referenced before that between gym leaders 2 and 3 was like the longest portion. It was like a long stint to where I was just doing a whole bunch of random
Hmm.
stuff. That's where I had some bit of like issues in that regards because yeah, I did spend about a good solid hour or two doing like the Grand Underground stuff like that, but because of how many NPCs and how much like stuff gets intersected in between that point, you literally go through and like go through a couple of different towns and stuff. There's one Home City. The gym leader and stuff is not even like battling you yet because you're not at that point where you can face him. That's Gym 5, right? And so I have to go all the way to Pastoria and stuff and beat, try to go forth and beat a whole bunch of NPCs along the way. I didn't have to, but at the same point, I needed that value experience points and stuff like that to help my team level up. Because to put into perspective, without this level up thing, without doing the whole leveling up like how it was
EXP
with
share.
Let's Go, the EXP share and stuff, it would have been a lot longer to grind and it would have been a lot longer to go through. And I kid you not, that's part of the reason why my original playthrough of Pokemon Diamond was at least over 50 hours, is because of the grinding, not putting into account like the online stuff, which why I had 200 and some odd hours inside Pokemon Diamond at that point in time on the DS. But for this game, I went through a whole bunch of NPCs, went through like a whole bunch of things up to that point, some story points and stuff. But it's not until you get to Pastoria City where you get to face the gym leader for there. That's like the water gym and stuff. That's actually considered gym leader number like 4. And so I'm like, where the fuck is gym leader number 3? Did I skip it entirely? No, it's a plot point, right? To where it's like they randomly like have this thing mixed up to where the water gym leader is supposed to be 4, but then all of a sudden you have to backtrack to get the gym leader 3, which is fighting. And they fixed that inside of Platinum to where once you get to Home City to begin with and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, you're not able to face off against that thing, but they corrected the gym leader like the gym leader order with the water gym leader like in Platinum being number 3, and then number 4 being the fighting, and then number 5 being like the ghost gym leader. So having gone through all that stint, having gone through all the random gym leaders and stuff like that, I didn't have too much issues with them. Going through a lot of the NPCs, hardly any type of issues whatsoever because I kept on doing random stuff. I didn't really feel like I was challenged until I got to the Elite Four and the Champion. Granted, there's a reason why people consider this Elite Four and Champion from this generation of Pokemon games to be some of the best because they have some of the most coverage. They have some of the most like some of the most well thought out in regards to not only the party and the Pokemon that they use, but in terms of coverage, in terms of like some stuff. So it's like you have the Elite Four and the Champion. You have a Bug type trainer. You have like a Ground type trainer, Fire, and then you have a Psychic type trainer and stuff. Those are the Elite Four in of itself. And out of those four, I actually had the most trouble with the Fire and the Psychic type trainers and stuff. I did not lose to any of the Elite Four during my first run. I did like 2 runs, right? Initially
Huh.
until when I beat the game, finally. The first run, the first run I was able to get to the fire like Elite Four member, right? His name's Flint. And quintessentially, what ended up happening was there was a point where I was facing off against this Drift Blim, which ghost flying type. It has like specific types of move set, right? There's one move that you have to avoid at all costs, and that's Minimize. Minimize is a move that will increase the Pokemon's evasiveness by +2, 2 stages, right? So in terms of stage effects and stuff like that, you have a maximum of 5 stages. So when something says it sharply increases something or sharply decreases, it'll either increase by 2 stages or decrease by 2 stages. So he'd use Minimize, right? He used it about twice. And so when I was trying to do moves against him, I'd be missing, right? It wasn't until I made the conscious decision, okay, I need to hit attract with my Roserade on this Drift Blim and stuff, so that way it will at least have that chance where he will not attack me and be immobilized and stuff like that in that retrospect. And so I ended up getting him doing that. So what ended up happening was there was a random chance that I did. I selected Sludge Bomb, right? Not an effective move against the Ghost Flying type. I hit him and I managed to get the poison. I managed to poison it on that one fucking Sludge Bomb, and I willed his life points away until finally all those life points, all those health points and stuff are gone, right? So I finally knocked out Flint after what was an eternity battling against this fucking Drift Blim, and it was actually a little point of contention during my second run in that point too. So for the last Elite Four trainer and stuff, there were some elements that I found kind of frustrating. One, he starts off with a Mr. Mime, right? And the Mr. Mime, if you don't hit it exactly right, if you don't take him out immediately, he'll set up double screens. So he'll set up a reflect, which increases the whole party sharply in their defense, and he'll go forth and he'll use light screen, which increases the defense of special defense and stuff by +2 stages and stuff. So quintessentially, it'll have a fairly comparable wall, so that if you were trying to launch a physical attack or a special attack, it will do like half damage. So it took some time, and in the first run he took out 3 of my party members and stuff doing that shit until I finally took out the Mr. Mime, set things up in motion with my, I think it was either with Roserade or with one of my other Pokemon, and I was able to defeat him. The challenge, the most challenging portion of this entire game was facing off against the champion. I had issues with it back in the day. I still had issues with it now. And it wasn't because of lack of skill. It definitely wasn't because of lack of preparation in that regards. The highest level Pokemon she has, Cynthia, the champion of the elite, the champion of the Sinnoh region, level 66. So my party was near their mid 60s. The lowest one I think was Garchomp with about level 58 at that point. So I got to the specific point to where I whittled down a couple of her party Pokemon and stuff like that, until I managed to get up to her Lucario. And the thing about it was, Lucario came at the worst timing for me, because it was after I had one of my other Pokemon that was just completely taken out, that could have easily taken it out with like one hit. That was my Garchomp. My Garchomp just fell to her Roserade, because her Roserade had a fairy type attack called Dazzling Gleam or something like that. Fairly powerful, super effective against dragon types. Hit it and killed it with one hit. And I'm like, oh shit, well, there's the Pokemon I'm going to use to take out her Lucario. So I end up losing to her Lucario, and that ended my first run. And I took like about a good solid minute or two staring at my Switch, staring at my TV screen. I'm like, yeah, that fucking just happened. And so at that point, I thought about maybe I should just quit for the night. And I'm thinking to myself after about a couple minutes, like, no, we're going to go through another run. And so went back. I go throughout the entirety of the run. I get to that exact same point. I'm facing off against the champion, Cynthia. And what ended up happening was something interesting, to where I finally got down. I managed to get a lot of her Pokemon fainted and stuff throughout, and retain a lot of my party members. Out pops her Garchomp. Level 66, her highest thing, and it outspeeds every single fucking Pokemon I have here. And so what ended up becoming a specific loop, it was an ever-revolving loop of me reviving my Luxray with Intimidate with any other party member and stuff. Because what would happen is, because I know Garchomp is a physical attacker, I have to resurrect and put out my Luxray because it has Intimidate. That lowers down its attack by 1 stage. And so every time that would knock out the Luxray, I switch out, I use a revive on Luxray, I put it back in, I do this. And this went on for like a good solid like 5 or 10 minutes or something like that until finally she completely exhausts Earthquake from the Garchomp. It literally runs out of like uses. And so she's using Dragon Claw, she's using Poison Jab and whatsoever. I finally decide to take a chance with this, right? So I have my Floatzel, and up until this point, she's trying to counteract me using Intimidate by using Swords Dance. So Swords Dance is a buffing move that increases your freaking attack by 2 stages, right? So I think I have her, and all of a sudden she uses a Swords Dance. I'm like, motherfucker! That's the one move I did not want to see. Oof, that's a lot to get out.
Fucking
But
sword dance, man.
yeah, of all the moves, you have Earthquake. It's like you have fucking Poison Jab, you have Dragon Claw, and you have fucking Swords Dance on top of that. I mean, you're already outspeeding my team. There's no fucking reason why you need another fucking attack boosting move in that regards. Because she was taking out a lot of my Pokemon with one hit anyway. But no. This moment was defined the entire run here for me, which eventually ended up me beating Brilliant Diamond. So I had my Floatzel out, and I thought to myself, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna call I'm gonna call her. She's gonna go forth and use Swords Dance in this next move. And so what did I do? It's like instead of going and try to attack it with Aqua Jet, which is a priority move, it'll hit before anything in terms of speed stuff. I choose Ice Fang. And what ends up happening? She uses fucking she uses fucking Swords Dance. I hit Ice Fang and stuff. She manages to knock out my Floatzel and stuff the next turn, but there's something else that happens. Because I revived my Infernape and stuff, that very last one, I finally get Infernape. I used Mach Punch, another priority move, and I knocked the fucking Garchomp out. And that was a
Nice.
flex move on my point. That if I didn't call out that bluff right then and there, that match would have been over. But it was a never-ending loop of me having to revive my party on top of having to simultaneously think on the fly of how am I going to take out this Garchomp at this high of attack level, and then it took me having to use one of my party members to whittle down the attack stages to make it less powerful, on top of me having to counteract her counter of trying to use Swords Dance to boost the damn things up. Long story short, if you want to beat this fucking game, you gotta be at least in the mid 60s or at least close to the 70s, dude. And I went through every fucking NPC in the game that I could at that point without having to grind. I didn't have to grind majorly. That's the thing. I never had to grind because of the EXP share. But I will say it was the most satisfying shit imaginable going through that initial point and facing that challenge, finding a way to go through and beat that game. I will say, you know what? Pokemon Brilliant Diamond is a good game. There are aspects of it that were incredibly easy, but what the game racks up in difficulty is when you finally get to that last 5 battles in that entire game, and all of a sudden it tosses everything at you, and then you have a champion that just basically is a gigantic fucking bully that'll go through and just steamroll you, even if you're not prepared. So overall, you know what? Brilliant Diamond is a good game, and it's definitely a good point for people to relive nostalgia wise and stuff. And I feel like that this is a game that is definitely good. I would probably rate it like a little bit less than I did with Diamond back in the day. I did love the way it looked. The graphics actually look fairly cool, especially when you're traveling over water and stuff. You'll see the ripples and everything else. It's like so intricate in some aspects of it. There were some glitches I did find which were kind of hilarious. I saw this one video online and stuff to where the subtitle of the videos, I think the developers forgot that you could actually move your character diagonally. So you actually
Oh,
have the video of the ice gym or something like that. And the whole key point of the puzzles is you have to go from tile to tile to break these snowballs and whatsoever, so you can get right up to the gym leader. So basically, what the dude did is went to this one corner right where the gym leader is at, like right up here, right? And he actually goes through and wedges things like diagonally to where he actually got up to the highest platform. So you know what? there are some glitches. There are some like random like thing little artifacts and stuff, especially if you're using your bike in certain areas. And there was one area where my Infernape upon the cycling road area where I get out of that cave, right, where I caught that Gibble, and I see my freaking Infernape. He's right on top of the bridge. He's fucking glitching out. I'm like, what the fuck? But I did like the aspect of my Pokemon being able to walk with me after going through that whole like that park area and stuff. I think it was either in Pastoria City or somewhere else, but there were a lot of good things I felt in this game, and there are some post game stuff that I do want to eventually get into and stuff. In terms of my Pokedex, it pretty much rates you upon like how many of them that you've seen. They actually keep track of how many Pokemon you've seen rather than what you've caught. So I think I've seen like around 146 out of the 150 or 149 possible. So I've seen the vast majority, besides the two of the legendary three in this game, plus whatever. But I would actually rate it a solid 8.5 out of 10 because it's a fairly solid game. There are some hiccups here and there. The story is kind of stagnated between certain parts, especially between Gym Leaders 2 and 3, where that whole stretch can be kind of a slog to get through. I felt like the game did a better job in terms of the leveling up system and like having the experience share from the get go. I mean, yeah, it does suck that you are not able to turn it off to give it yourself an extra challenge. But at that point, I felt it was ideal in that situation because I was changing my party out multiple times. I had like different Pokemon on my team that I wanted to use, and it was fairly forgiving in terms of me inserting new Pokemon, and all of a sudden I pretty much gained a whole random bunch of levels. And I thought it was really hilarious that I hoarded a whole bunch of rare candy and used it on my guard, like my Gabite at that time and stuff to evolve it into Garchomp. It was hilarious. I had about 8 or 9 of them, and all of a sudden I got it right to the evolutionary level. I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna start using on this one. I don't want to grind.
Understandable.
But yeah, that's what I've been gaming this week. And Jesus Christ.
It's cool. I'm like I'm actually I just literally just beat the fourth gym.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm kind of like exactly like where you're at, whereas like yeah, like the gaps in between gyms. Like I'm a little over 10 hours into it, and it's just like way too long of a gap in between gym battles and
Yeah.
progressing, and like it's just yeah, like you go yeah. Basically everything you were saying about that is very much mine without them, but I don't have the nostalgia of it. Where like that's where I play Pokemon for is the nostalgia.
Right.
That's why I love like Pokemon Let's Go, where I know a lot of hardcore Pokemon fans didn't like it. And it's like I played it purely because it was nostalgia. I have zero nostalgia. I played this on DS, but I didn't even finish it on there. Um, I'm still enjoying it. Like
Oh
the meta
yeah.
game, like it's all about the meta game really for these type of things than anything of like. But I plan on keep playing it. But yeah, it's just hopefully it sounds like it quickens up after this.
It does
So I
quicken
hope.
up quite a bit actually. And to put things to perspective, my final time with that game before I beat it, 30 hours, 30 minutes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Because I'm 10 hours in, so you're telling me I'm only a third of the way through the game.
Well,
Uh,
that depends really. I had to switch my party a couple different times and stuff, so it took a little bit longer in that regards. I switched out about 2 or 3 party members. So I had a Haunch Crow, I had a Roserade, Garchomp, like Infernape and stuff, my Floatzel, and obviously my Luxray and stuff. I thought that was a good balance of a team, but some part of it was like researching and stuff, making sure I had the right moves, making sure I had the right coverage and stuff. But my suggestion to you and stuff, I would definitely have, like, say you have your Infernape, keep having like Mach Punch on collaboration
oh
with,
yeah, that's not going anywhere. Yeah.
yeah, Mach Punch in collaboration with a move that you'll learn later on, Close Combat. That will definitely be a good idea.
I have that one too.
Yes, both of those moves are ideal. If you had, like, say, like a water type, say like a Floatzel or something like that, to where you had a priority water type move on top of that, having any type of good elemental like priority attacking move, like say a Mach Punch or an Aqua Jet or whatsoever, even like something as simple as Fake Out, that is good for a setup. And that's good in case, like you say, you use a close combat, you have like a little bit of health left. Let's say your opponent tries to attack you or something, you just hold on, and all of a sudden it's like, it's going to outspeed the next turn. Use Mach Punch. That'll do
Right.
priority 1, and that'll take it out.
Yeah. No, I use my Quick Claw. I have that on my Infernape and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm doing okay on that. Yeah, I like my Pokemon. I just literally the last thing I've done is beat the 4th gym, and my Infernape is in the like 36 or 37,
Yep.
and everybody else is like low 30s.
Out
So
of curiosity, though, what do you have for your party currently, besides Infernape?
I have Infernape, Starly, the most evolved version of the bird.
Okay, so Staravia, and then you have Staraptor
Staravia.
at like 36, I think it is.
Yeah, I got there. So he's evolved all the way there. I have a Graveler,
Okay.
Psyduck, Bedeau evolved to Roselia.
Rosalia, yes.
Rosalia.
Fun
I got
fact.
Infernape.
Fun fact, in order to evolve that Rosalia and stuff, definitely go through Iron Mountain, which is like right after like the Conolave, it's in Conolave City. It's a plot point where you'll go through eventually, but you go through that Iron Mountain thing,
Yeah, it's blocked off. Yeah.
you'll go through that initial section, but at near the end of that, you'll get an item called the Shining Stone. That is what will help you evolve that Rosalia into Roserade.
Yeah, I already have one. I'm just
Oh,
waiting to evolve it.
okay, okay.
I think I've someone gave me one. I think I can't remember my
Oh,
6th one. So those are my 5. Oh, I have the Sphinx. I have the 3rd version of that one.
Luxray.
So he's Luxray, yeah. So I have all my Pokemon are fully evolved except for my Roselia.
Nice.
So yeah. So but yeah, that pretty much all I've been playing. Yeah, bunch of Deathloop. So the last couple days, but yeah. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you like that, want to hear more from us, we're everywhere podcasts could be cast at. Please like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever you can do. Shares is the big thing. YouTube, obviously, if you're watching this, that's where we're at. Please like, share, subscribe on there. Really helps us out with the algorithm, gives us a chance to be seen. Facebook, Twitter, we're on there as well. Like, share, subscribe. Shares is the biggest thing you do, but reviews and likes, thumbs ups, all those really greatly help us as well. So thank you guys so much for listening. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, have yourself a fun time during this holiday seasons and stuff. Definitely play some fun video games, but thank you very much for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah?
Too sweet?
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.